What was the funniest guest moment in the first year of the Toddcast? Who was the best guest of 2020? And what were the best moments on the Toddcast in 2020? Well, we talk about all that and more on this episode of the Toddcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toddcast. As always, I'm your host, Todd McManus, and today, well, it is also a very special episode, but is as well a different episode. Of course, if you are a regular listener and you just know what happens on every other episode, that you know this episode is normally a guest episode, but something a little bit different is going to be happening this week. As you can tell from the title, this episode is the first official best of the Toddcast episodes that will be coming on throughout the year and years to come in the Toddcast going forth. Of course, this will not be happening every week. These will happen every couple of months, I imagine, as of right now. This is the plan going forth. This is the first one. And on this best of the Toddcast episode, we are going to take a look back at some of the best guests throughout the year of 2020. Of course, the first episode of the Toddcast was January 11th, 2020. And throughout the year of 2020, there were a total of 15 different guests. Now, this episode of Best Of is going to be highlighting different moments and funny and interesting conversations through a couple, not every guest, but a few guests throughout last year of 2020. And since it's the first week of June, we're pretty much almost halfway through 2021 already. Might as well take a look back at last year, remind you that those episodes are really good and still available on podcast providers. So, like I said, this is not a top 5 or top 6 or top 10 or whatever. These are just a few that have been chosen, just bits and moments from said episodes. And these episodes that are the moments have been taken from are guest episodes. So we're just going to be, this is basically kind of like a part 1 of guest moments from 2020. Also wanted to say this will not include Jaron. These moments. So Jaron, if you're listening, which I know you are, this best of guest of 2020 will not include Jaron, because I'm pretty sure, Jaron, you're going to get a best of episode all to yourself because you've been on so many times. You were on, I can count right now. You were on 5 times throughout 2020. Just the 1 year you were on 5 different times, and you've already been a guest on the Toddcast this year 3 times. So yeah, so this is not going to include Jaron. Excluding Jaron, there were 14 other incredible guests that were on throughout the year of 2020. And this episode is just going to take a look back at some of the conversations and funny moments that were had during the year of 2020. And I'm currently still waiting for Watch Mojo to make a top 5 video about the Toddcast, but this is episode 74, so I guess I've been waiting a year and a half for this to happen. Watch Mojo, I'm waiting for that woman to welcome to Watch Mojo. I'm waiting for her to make one about me. So it'll be a while probably. So like I said, there's a couple of moments here, and this will be the first of many to hopefully many to come best of episodes of the Toddcast. So first clip we have here, first moment, is a 2-time guest, and this is actually on the 4th episode of the Toddcast. This man is the 2nd guest ever to be on Toddcast history. This episode aired on February 1st, 2020, long time ago, over a year ago. This actually took place about a month and a half before the pandemic even happened. So this is basically a million years ago, is what it feels like to me. So this first guest moment comes from episode 4 on February 1st, 2020, and is with a guest I've known since 3rd grade, Jacob Smith. So here you go. From the time we've known each other since the 3rd grade, what would you say? I'm gonna ask you this, and don't be mean. What would you say is your favorite memory of going to high school? It doesn't have to be
leaving.
Well.
That was the best. But in reality,
like the funniest or most over the top thing,
goodness.
And that kind of thing. Because a lot of stuff happened. We were with a rowdy bunch.
Yeah,
of our graduating class.
That is definitely
over the top.
There's some more synonyms to.
There's more stuff there's
class.
stuff we can't talk about.
Right.
Rowdy's a good word.
I think my favorite memory sequence was like John Bailey's beef with Miss Temple. I don't think you were in the class with me.
But I heard.
I mean, every day, John Bailey, if you're out there listening to it, I enjoy my time there.
Yeah, John Bailey's a character. He's quite a guy.
Also, I think just the straight up goofiness of like the dual enrollment classes.
Those were the best because we with the teacher who was just she didn't teach us because we're doing dual enrollment.
Miss D? Did you have Miss D or Miss Callaway?
I had Miss D most of the time, and she was just so laid back, and it's like she wouldn't get on to you hardly any. I was in there for I think 1 semester in dual enrollment, and because I took music and psychology through dual enrollment, even though I majored in marketing. Just to get those two out of the way, you know. One of my favorite memories, not just from high school, but from just all of school in general, was I don't even remember the first time me and you met.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember. Because it was like people who I went to school with knew you from playing sports.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, I don't remember ever being like, hey, what's your name, you know? I always remember just people being like, oh, that guy's Jacob. And I was like, well, I got to talk to this guy, you know. And then I talked to you. We all just ran around on the playground in the 3rd grade.
Sharp almost got
bunch
killed.
A bunch of stuff happened.
That was
a bunch of stuff happened.
3rd grade was just not a great year.
3rd grade was a weird year because I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say it. Anything and everything that happens, no matter who it is to, as long as if it's not to me. If it happens to anybody I'm in the vicinity in, I'm in the bathroom every time something happens.
Every time. The world will end, and Todd Michael is in the bathroom.
a nuke will strike Louisiana, and it's going to be like a cartoon where it's just like that really small piece of earth that's sticking up, and it's like a bug or a roach sitting there.
Right.
And it's going to be like an outhouse, and I'm going to open the door, and it's just going to be me. That's what's going to happen.
Like that alien movie where he crashes down, and it just leaves that bit of I forget what that is called. I think it's a short.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's a short though.
But like that's it's so true. Because what happened? I'm gonna emphasize on that. What happened in the 3rd grade? This was Jacob's first year at the school that we both graduated from. That I went to since I was in kindergarten. I spent 13 years there, which is deadly.
Yeah.
But
very much
and not many people knew who you were because it was like, oh, it's just your first year there, so it's like you're the new kid, you know. And a lot in 3rd grade, it was like half the class was new kids because
for real, like y'all's 2nd grade class was tiny.
It was bad, and then it got really big, and we had 40 total graduate, which was small compared to many schools, you know, like the big schools have like thousands of people.
Yeah, my dad's graduating class, he was down south. His graduating class had like 960 people.
Yeah, my mom only had like over about 150, and she graduated from the main high school in our town, and we're just in some other private school, you know. But anyway, this was one of the best things that happened. I was in the bathroom. And so I'm just doing my thing, you know, and then I get out of the bathroom,
And I'm like, and everybody in my class was just standing out in the hall with the teacher, who was named Miss Baker. And she was a very loud woman. She was actually, I'll give props to her. She was the one, because if you didn't know, my middle name is Michael. And my mom taught me to write all 3 of my names, my first, middle, and last, on a piece of paper. Miss Baker's the reason I stopped using my middle name, because she said it's too long and it takes you too long to write. She stopped because she said it's too long for me to talk about it if I call attendance and stuff, and she said, and it's too much for you to write. She was like, just don't use your middle name. So I just started going by Todd ever since the third, for like 15 years now. I've just been going with my first name. And y'all were well, you weren't. Everybody except Jacob was out in the hall. And I was like, well, what's going on? And I walked up to someone, I was like, well, what happened? Why are all out in the hall? And they were like, look in there. And I look in there, and my God. I look, and Jacob is in the far corner from the door. And I'm like, it was like the Great Divide. Like, it was so far from you. And I look on the ground, and you were sitting just up against the wall, back up against it on the ground. And there's just a pool of liquid covered the entire floor. And viewer discretion is advised, but there was chunks of meat everywhere. And it's because the reason he did that was because about an hour earlier, we had Sloppy Joes for lunch that day in the cafeteria. Cafeteria made Sloppy Joes.
I tell you, that was that was quite the conversation I had with the one and only Jacob Smith, 2-time guest here on the Toddcast, and hopefully we'll be 3, 4, 5 in the future. Who knows? And we had some good times throughout high school, I will say that. And like I said before, you can go check that out. That is episode 4, which aired on February 1st, 2020. And we all had some good times through high school. I'm pretty sure everybody did. Had your moments. And then the moment we talked about from the 3rd grade, then the first year I knew Jacob, that was quite something. And it's true. Everything happens while I'm in the bathroom. I don't know why. But that is a very true statement. So, up next is someone I've known even longer, honestly. Can you believe it? I've known this man since kindergarten, which has been 16 years. And this episode is episode 6. He is the 3rd guest, which was the 2 weeks after the previous episode you just listened to. On episode 6, all the way from February 15th, 2020, this guest is Zach Charbonneau, who we also know as Charb. He is a good friend of mine. I've known him for 16 years. He's a one-time guest, and hopefully he'll be on again in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is episode 6 from February 15th, 2020 with Zach Charbonneau.
I'm allergic to grass, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I heard that. I want to know, Todd, what happens if you were to just go to the grass and roll around?
We're currently looking at
a grass field.
Not a field, but it's like a yard type thing because it's small.
Yeah, we're parked in somebody's yard. We don't know who this is, but
not really. Maybe. You don't know.
Yeah,
You're just listening. You don't know. You don't know. You won't.
But
I'm wondering what happens too. I'm not going to try it.
I mean, I wonder if your body will turn red and you blow up like a balloon, like that girl in Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory.
Oh my gosh.
Or your throat swells up.
And I'm going to get orange. I'm going to turn into a Oompa Loompa out there. I'm kind of scared.
I mean, can you walk out there barefoot? I mean, you have to walk out there with shoes, or do you have to walk out
I'm
there
not
with
putting that deadgum hazmat suit on to go out in the yard. I can't get out of mowing the grass, though, because I'm allergic.
Exactly. Grass gets on you. Mom, you just stick the EpiPen up in your leg.
Yeah, because you have to take it off, take the cap off, and you have to stab your thigh with it.
I don't know if I could do that, dude.
To yourself?
I'd hit my femur or something. I don't know.
Well, you're supposed to hit something. But yeah, you're skinny, so
dude,
you'd go through your bone.
I'd go through my whole leg.
You would just stab the whole pin. You just have a hole in your leg while having an attack.
The whole pin just went straight through me.
It's like, oh no.
I call this a bigger problem.
See, I haven't used it yet, thankfully. I hope I don't. But
That'd be an evil prank. Somebody just gets like a bunch of grass and fills your like tailgate up with it.
yeah, like
Okay, I shouldn't be
it's
giving
like
people ideas.
people putting all that asbestos in them letters and stuff, and I just get a letter full of grass.
No,
It
it's
was
not
like-
asbestos. What was that?
That was that stuff in New York, because asbestos, well, it comes out the ceiling.
And the floor. And
Yeah.
it's those tables
It's
that
everywhere.
It's at Rooffield. Those
Yeah,
tables, the
it's
science
like,
tables.
you hit them too hard, dust comes off of it. Well, you got cancer now.
Dude, if you go to Rooffield
like,
and
oh,
you're listening to this, the tables in Miss Brunson's room are poisonous.
Yeah,
Sue
they're
Riverfield.
cancerous.
If somebody gets cancer from Rooffield, sue Rooffield.
If I get cancer in like 40 years, I'm still going to sue.
I'm suing.
It's like, you have skin cancer, asbestos.
Asbestos. Grass mixed with asbestos.
I'm going to get mesothelioma from it.
My name's Dave.
My name's Doug, and I have Doug died. I feel bad now, because Doug passed away.
Did he really?
Doug, you will always be in our hearts from your mesothelioma. Yeah, because that was the commercial. It was like, my name is Doug, and I have mesothelioma. And I was like, this is supposed to be a sad commercial, like the in the arms of
What
the
is that?
angel. That's them dog and cat commercials. It's like,
ASPCA,
go
whatever it's
adopt an animal and save their life. And then this other one's like, my name's Doug, and I have mesothelioma.
Dude, and then like that.
I don't even know what mesothelioma is
I don't
or what it does, but it's bad apparently.
That's from asbestos.
Uh,
It's from asbestos.
I thought that was. Oh well, probably.
Yeah, we need to look that up.
But grass, I'd give it a 0 on the restaurant scale.
I mean, they have. Grass could be.
See, I'm not allergic to salad.
Oh, you can eat.
I eat salad. I don't
Salad.
eat that. I don't eat that kind of grass.
Well, say you're not allergic to horses. Well, what happens if your horse eats grass and he nibbles on your finger?
Oh, and then I'm dead. And then there goes the
There-
thingy.
There goes the fingy.
There goes the
You
fingy.
gotta chop it off like a
Lost the
diabetic.
fingy.
You gotta chop it off like a diabetic.
Not like your foot. It's like, oh, I'm diabetic. Let me chop my fingers off. Because I'm diabetic.
Well,
I got diabetes fingers.
Have like they cut them off at the joints. I think if you have diabetes,
I thought that was your foot.
if you
It
lose
was
all
at the ankle.
no, you lose all your feet and then it goes to your fingers.
I'm not losing all my toes and fingers.
Oh.
I'm not diabetic, okay? I'm allergic to freaking grass. That's what's wrong with me. I have an EpiPen that I take with me everywhere I go in my truck. I don't take it.
In your backpack?
No, I don't. So if I encounter grass from my truck to class,
like that
which
guy-
I do. So if like I've said before, if I just fall, if I trip in any yard, I'm dead. No, not really.
You can't get up.
I'm not-
You need that life alert, like that infomercial.
Nah, I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm just starting to bloat. Just getting all red.
I wonder if she's dead.
Getting all itchy. She probably. No, I doubt. Well, she was old anyway.
She was old, bro.
And I still don't know what happens if I face plant in grass. I still don't. Like, I'm pretty sure I've rolled around in grass, It brings up an honest or a good point, you know what I'm saying? Like, I still don't know. Like, I've been in grass, I'm pretty sure, in the past year and a half. Yeah, I think I have. I'm not real sure. Anyways, that's not the point. Anyways, this next conversation is actually from the first episode that was ever recorded virtually from 2 different locations. And surprisingly, it's episode 14, so we're skipping ahead a little bit. Episode 14 aired April 11th, 2020, and featured the first woman guest in Toddcast history. That's right, it featured a friend of mine by the name of Miranda Finley. She also was a one-time guest on the Toddcast, and hopefully she may be included in a future episode down the road. And she set a milestone by becoming the first woman guest in Toddcast history. So, and it's quite the conversation. I'll go ahead and say that. So, here is a conversation from episode 14 on April 11th with Miranda Finley. Check it out.
Like,
But like full on, like wild.
would you have a pet lion, a pet tiger?
Lions are cool, and if it wouldn't like attack my other cats, I'd be fine with it, or me. Like if it was just chill,
I'd have to have it outside because I'm allergic. But that'd be so
Yeah,
cool.
I heard you're allergic
Maybe
to
a
grass.
giraffe.
Are you actually allergic to grass?
Yeah, I'm allergic to grass. Like, I can't go outside. It's everybody wears all these face masks with coronavirus. I've been doing this for years.
Like, how bad is it, Todd? You just sit in a field and like your throat
I don't
starts closing
know.
up? Like,
I don't know, but I don't want to try because I'm afraid that my mom's just going to walk outside one day and see me face down dead in the yard. And then, like, well, what happened to him? It's like, oh, I tripped, fell in grass. Like that's not
good.
what that's like the lamest death. Like, I don't want to.
The grass got you.
Oh,
like, yeah.
He's allergic to grass. Like, death by grass. No, that's not one of. Like, if I had a way of choosing to die, that's not a way. I don't want to die of an allergic reaction to grass.
Is it like certain kinds though, or is it just like?
It's every kind.
The grass does not.
There are different kinds, but I registered on all levels. Like, they were like, you're highly allergic to, or I'm allergic to cats and dogs and all the types of grass. And I'm apparently highly allergic to 2 different types of trees.
What's the trees?
Which is pecan and oak, which is the only type of trees in Louisiana.
That's really tough. You just don't need to go outside at all.
No, I don't. Like, social distancing from grass.
Yeah, that's
trees.
That's kind of hard to avoid. So you went and had like a full allergy test done?
Oh yeah, they
the
did
needles in your back. How bad did that hurt?
On my back. How bad? No, it didn't hurt that bad. It just itched. Because you don't really feel them. Because it's like, I thought it was going to be like acupuncture, and they were going to end up putting the needles in my back and leave them for a while. But it was just the prick. And they only do it on the side of my back, like one side.
Yeah. That still freaks me out, though. I'd probably pass out if I had to have that done.
Well, if you're afraid of needles, you're like laying down on your front. So it's like your back's up. And it's like, and they were like, all right, take your shirt off. And then I'm just laying on my gut there, dying. And then they inject
Well, did they at
grass
least, try to make a little conversation while they're stabbing needles in your back? That is so rude.
And I was just in there by myself, and then this nurse lady come in there, and she's like, all right, it's going to feel like she said it's going to feel like, what did she say it was going to feel like? Because it was just like one prick, and she like stabbed it in there, and it was it. And it like poked it, and it was like a needle, poked the hole, pushed the stuff in there, and it was over in less than 1 second.
Oh,
she did
no.
Like 50
See, I would have been done.
Or at least like 30.
No, I would have been done
like
at the
that.
first one. I'd be like, okay, you found what I'm allergic to. That's what it was.
But it was like from like the very bottom of my back all the way up to my shoulder, but it was all only on the left side of my body, on my back, from my spine over on the left side was just covered in bumps. But it was only certain bumps because I wasn't allergic to everything else. She was like, well, you can have a horse. I'm not allergic to that.
Well, what's the horse?
Rabbit.
The horse is going to have to be,
you're
going to have to go in the pasture to get on the horse.
I'm like, I'm not bringing a horse inside my house. It's like, oh, I can have an inside horse. It's like, no, I'm not going to bring my horse. I don't even own a horse. If I did, I'm not bringing them inside, but I'm not allergic. It's just cats and dogs, and I don't own any dogs, but I do own like a couple cats. But they are not inside.
What's the name of your cats?
Inside animal. Stupid
and cat.
And cat. That's it. That's every one of them. 1, 2, 3. That's their names.
7?
No, I got a couple. I got 7. But yeah, and that's like feeding one tiger with the amount of food.
Well, I wasn't wrong, was I? That was quite the conversation we had. And it's quite the episode. The entire episode, as it is really good, in my opinion, and funny. And it probably sounds a little different because it was recorded virtually, of course, and it was the first time doing it, and it was new to Anchor, the podcast platform that I'm using. So it was new to them because we were only a month into quarantine and everything, you know. So, and we talked about Tiger King a lot. That's why the Lions and Tiger conversation came up, because that's when it was such a big hit on Netflix. So, yeah. So, next up is a good conversation with one of my good friends and two-time guests, Hunter Jones. He was on this episode. This is episode 20. Skip ahead a little bit more. And this episode aired on May 23rd, 2020. This is actually episode 20. And it featured Hunter Jones. It's a really good conversation. And you can go ahead and check it out right now. You've worked at many different places in your life,
Right.
probably. You've had a couple jobs. Right. Currently, you are working at a place called Glenwood Hospital.
Right.
Or Glenwood Regional Hospital, I should say. So tell me about that. How'd you start working there?
Well, I needed a job. So I was on Indeed.
As the usual.
And it said psych tech. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool, because I'm in school to be a counselor, and I thought that, hey, it's somewhat related to, what I'm going to school for. So.
Yeah, and you can help people.
Yeah, basically. So I got that job, and I like it. It's just, I'm working nights, so I'm having to get my body prepared, for working night shift. I have to get my body used to staying up all night. So that's the only challenging thing.
Because you're doing a complete opposite.
Yeah.
Where it's like, wake up late, go to bed early in the morning.
Yeah.
Because you're working the other day you worked a 12-hour night shift.
Yeah.
And it was from 7 to 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is rough, in my opinion.
12 hours is a long time.
Yeah. I wake up in the morning on some days close to 8 to 8:30, and I'm get on Snapchat, and I'm Snap Hunter, and then he's like, all right, I'm about to go to bed. And I'm like, it's 8:30 in the morning.
I'm out.
Yeah. And then,
all right, I'm about to head out.
but it's but being there at night from 7 to 7, you probably don't even get that many people coming in,
Well, yeah, you'd be surprised. In the beginning of the night, from probably 7 to about 2:30 or 3
in the morning.
Yeah, it's busy. But then 3 to 6 is slow. No one's usually having.
That's when everybody's asleep.
Yeah. And then about 5:30 is when a couple others will start rolling in.
Oh, yeah.
So.
It has its fast moments and its slow moments.
Yeah, but it's a good job.
But you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Making money.
Yeah.
Not the important part. Making
Oh.
money and somewhat enjoying it,
Yeah, one thing that happened at work, I'll tell you all this, and something about me is that, and it's I don't mean to do it, but I'll laugh at things that are
probably
that
not
aren't
funny.
supposed to be funny.
It's
a serious situation, and so there's just an urge to laugh.
Somebody's getting told off very seriously.
Yeah.
And you'll be chuckling in the
I
corner.
used to get in trouble by my parents, and they would be yelling at me, and I would start laughing, and they're like, "What's so funny?" You're grounded, mister. So, you can't really laugh at work because it's a serious job.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this one girl in one room, because she was going through some stuff, and I had to watch her, make sure
she stays all right.
or anything. And then someone comes rolling in the next room. So anyways, he's done pretty much.
Yeah.
And I hear one of the nurses ask him if he's allergic to anything. He said he was allergic to his wife. And I could not help but laugh a little bit. I'm like, man, this dude's dying, but he's just
cracking jokes.
He just cracked a joke, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah. My wife.
I was like, wow.
Wow. Still gotta keep it funny.
Everyone's all serious trying to get this guy.
Trying not to let him die right there before him, and he's over there.
I'm allergic to my wife.
I'm allergic to my wife. That's funny. I feel like that'd be me. Like, whenever, like, if I have to go to the hospital and I'm dying or whatever, I would still be like,
Yeah.
what's up? What's up? What's up, my dude? Like, what up? We're live. I'm live in the hospital. I'm gonna just do a podcast episode right before I die. There you go. I'll go out.
Hey, I'm tired. I'm dying.
Like always. And remember to subscribe. But that was a great conversation with the one and only Hunter Jones. And of course, you can listen to the rest of that, the entirety of that episode, on podcast providers. And he was also on episode 30 as well in 2020. And hopefully he'll be on again in the future. Next up, to end this off, this is going to be the last conversation clip moment on this best of episode. This moment comes from episode 8, all the way from March the 1st, 2020, right before the pandemic started. And this one actually includes the man himself, the 4-time guest on the Toddcast, but this was his first appearance as a guest. And he also holds the record for the longest episode in Toddcast history, which is a little over 2 hours. John Wright. This was his first episode, like I said, on episode 8, and you can check him out on all the other episodes as well, and you might as well just listen to every episode at that point. So he made 3 total appearances in 2020 and 1 appearance just a couple of weeks ago, actually. And this was his first appearance, and we had some great conversations throughout this episode, and you're about to listen to one of them right now. So here you go from episode 8 with John Wright. Gorilla.
Yes. Let's talk gorillas.
Specifically silverbacks.
Silverback, the main gorilla.
Yeah, incredibly strong creatures.
Funny.
Harambe.
Really the most human-like animal.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you believe in the evolution type.
Yes.
People say that's what we evolved from, was from monkeys.
Apes and gorillas.
Gorillas, all those.
But
some may be orangutans.
Yeah, but these creatures are incredibly strong. Like compared to us. Like, I think I heard one of my science teachers in middle school said like, if you had like, a gorilla like grab you by each shoulder, they could literally rip you in half. Without struggling. And
they're just ripped by nature.
Yeah, like they're absolutely massive creatures too. And I was just thinking like, these are just naturally strong creatures. But what if they took up after like Arnold Schwarzenegger and like they started bodybuilding? Like, how much stronger would they be if they knew bodybuilding techniques?
If they shaved all that hair off and like got completely ripped.
They spray tanned their body, they oiled up, they put on a little Speedo, and they
would be so ripped and all that because of course it's a gorilla. They have hands for feet, as well. So,
like, I'm wondering how much they're squatting. Like, what are they benching? How much do they curling?
If they squat, is it technically a hand squat?
That's interesting.
Because they don't have feet. They all have, it's 4 hands.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine. Yeah, they're using hands as
it's a
feet.
handstand.
So yeah, it's a handstand, and they're just hand squatting.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's like when they could lay down on their back and just curl, but do 4 bicep curls at the same time.
Yeah, but I'm imagining like Planet of the Apes. Like these things are, actually working out in a gym, just like
you got Caesar in a gym
going after it, just trying to like, bodybuild. They're drinking protein shakes.
Taking creatine, all that stuff.
BCAAs.
Yeah.
I just want to see like.
I'll put a gorilla on PCP.
What's the true potential of a silverback gorilla, strength wise?
Because we haven't seen any live up to that potential. We've seen you could probably Google the strongest gorilla ever.
Yeah.
And see and that'll probably bring you up how many people he's killed or something, or I'll probably bring up Harambe just for fun and all that, so.
I mean, he
one of the greatest.
He was a saint.
Always remember.
He deserved better.
Yeah. But, if there was like a gorilla who was like the cousin of Harambe, and he was like,
He's wanting revenge.
you know what? And then you just see
It's like,
him
I'm mad.
like in the gym, bench pressing, like getting ready, and then he's like bench pressing with his feet too.
4 cars.
Yeah, just one in
on
each
each
hand.
limb, yeah.
Just
I
have a
could see
fifth
it.
one and like neck moving it.
Mm-hmm. Because
That would be
that's out of spite
Amazing.
for his cousin Harambe.
And he gets up there on like the stage of the Arnold Classic, and he's just like,
Shredded, absolutely.
yeah, he's like Mr. Universe. He's a gorilla. I could believe that. I'd be pretty cool if somehow you could train him to do stuff.
Terrifying.
Like have a world's strongest man competition with a gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
It's like them doing the deadlifts, like with the bar almost breaking because it's so much weight.
Yeah.
And like the world record deadlift is well over 1,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen? I don't know.
Because I've seen the mountain.
Yeah,
do stuff.
Half Thor Bjornsson.
Yeah.
Absolute monster.
Because
This
he was
dude's
in.
so big.
Because he was the mountain in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And was just what I call him because he's such a massive man. Because he started
He's like world's strongest man.
The
3
Rain-
years.
the Rain energy drink.
Yeah.
He owns that. So it's like this man is such a massive dude, and we like get a gorilla to work out at full capacity, at his full potential. Could the mountain take on
I think
fully powered gorilla?
I think a full potential mountain like Half Thor wouldn't be able to take on like a prepubescent gorilla. Like I just don't think humans are strong enough to do that because gorillas
that,
are
and then
massively
he's got,
strong.
and then since it's an animal, it'll go feral.
Oh yeah,
It's like they're wild.
this
when
is
it-
like a
when
life
you actually
or death. Like you've got to survive.
like how a
He's gotta go wild.
bullfighters with the red and all that.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but like a gorilla
You
going
just
up
see it
against
red.
it.
That
Would be amazing to watch.
terrifying.
It's like let's watch a boxing fight of a gorilla and the mountain.
Oh yeah.
It's like just full on punching. The gorilla could probably have it.
He probably could.
He might even knock down the mountain in one punch, and that would be amazing to see somebody knock him out in one punch. Like that's like Mike Tyson's prime punch
Versus
against
a toddler.
Yeah. Like that's
I don't think
that's a comparison.
the
out
mountain's
there.
ever been compared to a toddler before, but like
Up against a gorilla who is compared to Mike Tyson. That would be quality entertainment. What?
yes it would.
I think it would be. People would pay to see that.
Yeah.
Like, different people would pay to see that. And you know it's true.
Oh yeah. That's an interesting concept.
Just think about that, all of you out there. All of you gorilla fans. Think of a full potential gorilla.
That was some good times with all of those guests throughout the year of 2020 and every other guest that was not included in this best of episode as well, and all the other episodes that those guests were on. Just listen to every episode at this point throughout 2020 and this year as well, ongoing from here. And yeah, I just want to thank those guests that were on: Jacob, Zach, Miranda, Hunter, and John. Thank all of you for being a guest, and thank all of the guests. Just a big thank you to all the guests that have ever been on the Toddcast. Just thank you to all of you, and thank all of you for listening to this episode. That's going to do it for this episode of Best of the Toddcast. This was Best of 2020 guests, and if you want to see any other Best of moments in the future, you can go ahead on to my YouTube channel. The link will be down down below in the description of this podcast episode on the podcast provider you're listening to, whether it be on Apple, Spotify, Google, anywhere else. There's a description down below and a link in the description. Go ahead and click or tap on that and it'll take you to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe, and go down in the comment section of this video, of this podcast episode, and comment best of, and then type out what you would like to see. Do you want to see best of episodes of me? Do you want to hear best of episodes of the reviews, like best of reviews? That may be a future episode. best of Jaren conversations, because that will no doubt be a future episode. So just type it down and type down anything that you would like to see in a future episode of the Toddcast. And hopefully you enjoyed this best of edition of the Toddcast. And as always, please rate and subscribe. And if you're listening on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, and click that bell to get notified when new videos are uploaded. And make sure you follow the Toddcast on Instagram for updates. Only on Instagram for updates. Only on Instagram, no other social media, at @the_Toddcast_. Only on Instagram. And tell your friends and your family to give it a listen. Tell anybody you want to. And thank all of you for listening to this episode. And if you want to know what's going to happen next week, well, I guess you're just going to tune in to find out. Only on the Toddcast.